This is Marybeth's senior recital. Marybeth and I started off, you were 13, so it was like 5 years ago. And she came in for voice lessons. She sang for a while, and then she was having some, what I call elocution difficulties in your voice box, and she had to get some medical training, some vocal training, that sort of thing. And her mom came to me and said, and during that time, she had a wonderful time. She just loved doing the comedic stuff, the comedy and anything that involved acting. And Laurel, in the meantime, was just like singing her head off and writing music and going to school for music. And Julie came to me and said, would you be interested in teaching her music theory? We got to do something for music for homeschool. And I said, sure. So I love telling this. We went through all these books, okay, the theory books, and she groaned the whole time. I mean, she just groaned, and she complained, and at a point she would put her head on the table saying, this is awful. And there was a part of me which was interesting. I never took it too seriously. I kept telling her, you know, suck it up. You're going to do this. I'm not always like that. Many times I'm, oh, they're having a hard time and maybe this isn't what they should do. I felt to be really brazen with her. And I said, you can do this, come on, you know. And then when the theory would show, she had to do all these inversions and she had to figure out diminished chords and stuff. Rather than follow the book, which kind of gave little helpers, I removed all the helpers. And I made it even more difficult. I was thinking about that the other day, you know. But, and I'm letting you, I want you to understand the reason I'm giving all this background is to show you what kind of student she was. Oh, she groaned, she carried on, she groaned, but she did it. Complain all you want, just get it done, do it. So finally I went to Julie, I said, you know, I think she's got a knack for this sort of thing. I sense a gifting in this. And of course, the first thing Marybeth said, I am an author, I am a writer. Don't even speak that to me. I'm like, okay. So then she came to me, when was it? A year ago, 1 year ago. I said, I think I'd like to take piano lessons. She wanted to do piano. I said, okay, we can switch back and forth. And I thought she was just desperate to get away from the theory that she took for an hour every week, just writing and writing and writing and having to, I would do ear training and she'd be going like this. She sat down and started playing piano and I'm like going, oh my word, this girl's a pianist. And I'm going to try not to tear up here, but I'm getting a little emotional here. And I realized she and Laurel are very interesting cuts of different fabric, but with similar goals. It's an enormously creative family. And I should not be surprised because I taught Michelle's two daughters. Oh my goodness, it's a stratosphere. You know, you're always on your toes with creativity. But she took off on this piano, and then she walks in one day, and she says, I heard this song, and I would like to play it. I said, do you have a chord chart? She goes, no, but she says, I can play it for you. I went, okay. So she started playing it for me, and I'm like, how did you figure this out? She goes, well, I used my ear. And I'm like, yes! And the training is paying off. And she began singing this song, and I was blown away. And I said, do you want to arrange it? So I talked to her about arranging ideas. She goes, well, this is what I'm hearing. And I said, yeah, let's do this. So she becomes an arranger. She's hearing things, she's grabbing chord charts, and she's arranging. So I said, okay, you're ready to write something. Let's just compose something. And she kind of, I could see the fear and trembling hitting her. And she goes, you think I can? I said, I know you can. And I don't know what it is about composing. When I composed my very first song, I was in my early 20s, and I shook. I shook with fear. And it's because it's coming out of you, and it's like, is this really going to be something? It was so important to me. She walked in, and I was almost envious with what she wrote. I told her, I wish I had written that. And we worked on it, and the big thing with Marybeth was, I said, you got to give me a B section. why? I said, because all you have here is a wonderful exposition. We have to develop this thing. But she stuck to it, and she finished it, and then she did the recapitulation, you know, that sort of thing. And then from there, she walked in with these pieces by these esoteric Japanese piano composers that I absolutely scorned. And it's because they take time signatures and just beat the daylights out of them. It's beautiful music. And I looked at this, I said, you want to play this? And she goes, yeah. We're talking grade 6, grade 7, and she hasn't even played a year yet. She walked in, she learned them, and she got it down. So then after all this procedure, so she gets this all done, I said, do you want to do a senior recital? She goes, I really want to do this. So then I said, okay, now you have to get it to where it's performance ready. And, you know, and it's interesting about creative types. We just love to create. It's finishing that's hard. And I learned that one the hard way. I was a bear. That's why I was such a bear with drama troupe. It says you got to finish well. You got to finish well, you know. And it's the finishing, because that's where the real discipline comes in. We love the discovery part. It's the finishing. And worked her very hard on that. And again, she was putting her head down on the piano keys going, oh, this is so hard. I said, do it. I don't want to see it till it's ready. And she did. And then I said, okay, now, you are going to shape this recital. I said, you're going to do all the remarks in between. And she looked at me gasping. And then she said, well, I'm writing a book. Do you want to know how many homeschoolers I've talked to that are writing books? She gets this thing bound, published, and released. And so she's a finisher. She's not only a creator, she's a finisher. And that's a lot. Last thing, I was telling Michelle, the first time I had to put on a presentation of the things that I do where my parents were not there supporting me, I shook in fear. It was very difficult. And I was always doing everybody else's works. I never did some on my own. I was terrified to do that. She's done all this from beginning to end. And Julie and Jarvis have been such a support. I just want to thank you for all that you've done. So enjoy. She is doing some works by other authors, but much of what you're going to hear, and she will not announce it, nobody will know, she has arranged herself and she has composed. Thank you.